sports.
We are Black Force. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. Road trip continues. 3 cities, the final stop, we're in Chicago. An interleague matchup. It's game number 1 of a 2-game set, the St. Louis Cardinals and the Chicago White Sox. Jim Hayes is with us. That's the man on Gary and Al Raboski. I'm Dan McLaughlin, and welcome to Cardinals baseball. In our open tonight, we highlight a couple of All-Stars. You'll see them on display this evening, and we'll start with the Cardinals starting pitcher, Miles Mikolas.
Boy, I've really enjoyed every start he's made this year. This kid knows how to pitch. He learned the last 3 years in Japan, gets command of the breaking balls. He's throwing strikes. You watch, a lot of times it's away, but he reads hitters so well that he knows when to throw inside.
The slugger, the first baseman, DH of the White Sox, Jose Abreu.
Yeah, he's 4th in the American League in doubles with 27, but in the last 40 games, he's only hit 1 double. Really struggling right now, but he was the fans' vote for first base for the American League, so it'll be his second All-Star bid.
Mikolas, Abreu, the Cardinals, the White Sox. We're on the south side of Chicago. We have baseball, and it's coming up on Fox Sports Midwest. by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. And by Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the St. Louis area. Find yours at your Mid-America Chevy dealer. It's an interleague matchup, the Chicago White Sox and the St. Louis Cardinals. Baseball is coming up. Back in Chicago, the South Side, the team that has really struggled this year. The White Sox are 30-60. The Cardinals 46-43, and they start play 7 games back. Along with Al Rabosky and Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin. 75 degrees, our game time temperature, and a beautiful night for baseball here in the Windy City. Matt Carpenter at the top of the Cardinals lineup, followed by Paul DeJong and Jose Martinez. Marcelo Zuna, Yadier Molina, Jed Jerko, Dexter Fowler, Jairo Munoz, and Colton Wong. Dylan Covey, the starter for the White Sox, his 11th start, and he's really been struggling here lately.
Yeah, he really has, Dan. He's 0-3 with a 13.2 ERA over his last 4 starts. He has pitched much better here. You see his pitch arsenal brought to you by Hyundai. Primarily the fastballs. He's got the slider, the change. The change is a split finger pitch and the curveball. Rule 5 pitch 2 years ago. He was 0-7 at the big league level a year ago. And as we said, he was 3-0 with a 1.53 ERA in his first 5 starts, but of late struggling.
Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Polka, Tilson, and Garcia in the outfield. Sanchez, Anderson, Moncada, Abreu, and DeVay is behind the plate. Matt Carpenter with a pinch hit 3-run homer the ball game on Sunday. And 1 of 5 still remaining to potentially make the All-Star game. Looks at a strike, and we are underway.
Wouldn't that be something? Mid-May, 140 average, but on a tear ever since.
Shift on the right side and the 0-1 pitch. Make it 0-2. Last 31 games he has been on a tear. He scored 30 runs. that often gets overlooked with the average home runs, RBI, but runs scored such a big part of it. And 30 in the last 31 games for Matt Carpenter.
A lot of extra base hits, too.
And the 1-2 pitch. Fouled back. Tommy Pham, a late scratch in the Cardinal lineup, so Paul DeJong moving up into the second spot. And Jairo Munoz, who is to be on the bench, he will bat 8th tonight and play center field. Inside corner and a strikeout of Carpenter.
There were 2 strikes in that at bat that Carpenter did not like at all. Watch that 2-seam fastball just come right back to the middle of the plate.
Remember, Tommy Pham had a foul ball off his left foot ankle, and he was out here early running initially in the lineup and then a late scratch. So DeJong moves up to the second spot.
I was talking to the trainers and said, Pham okay? And they said, we're watching him, and it's pretty much how much can he tolerate. And apparently with that late scratch, it makes sense to put him on the bench tonight.
One ball and 1 strike. And with more on Tommy Pham, let's check in with Jim Hayes. Jimmy.
Yeah, before the game, Mike Matheny said he wanted to take a close look at Tommy Pham to see if he'd be able to play. Pham told me the foot really hurt him, so those guys decided at the last second best for Tommy to sit down, but he was in a lot of pain. Tommy Pham doesn't volunteer to come out of a game.
This was earlier, probably about 2:30, 3 o'clock this afternoon. Then after he finished sprinting, he was actually limping a little bit towards the dugout. Obviously not in there. There's a little chopper that's foul off the bat of DeJong.
So we see Munoz out in center field. What a great job he did in the absence of Paul DeJong.
And Mike Matheny told me this last stop in San Francisco that center field is his best position in the outfield. They like him there. Check swing, and he struck out.
Actually, Mike Matheny got that scouting report about how good of a center fielder he is from his son Tate, who played against Munoz last summer. And at the time, Mike really didn't know that he was that good of an outfielder. He said, well, he's an infielder. He goes, no, Dad, he's really could play center field.
He's done a nice job.
Yes, he has.
So 2 outs, and here's Martinez. And strike 1. Jose serving as the designated hitter. Interleague play, American League Ballpark, and the DH. Here's an 0-1.
Well, we know what kind of hitter Jose is. He's had the trouble with the field, but I'm sure we'll show a graphic later on. But against the White Sox, Abreu, their all-star, his numbers are better in every department. Jose's.
And against a lot of National League first basemen, too.
Abreu is a slugger, but he's in a slump right now.
The 2-1 pitch. 3-1. Ozuna on deck. Here's what Al was talking about, the Kubota power stats comparison between Martinez and Abreu. Pretty good year for Jose Martinez, who's on pace for 24 home runs and 96 RBI. It's a 2-out walk, and the batter will be Marcell Ozuna. Ozuna, and along with Dexter Fowler, both were out here early taking BP. At, I'd say 2:15, 2:30. Just trying to get that timing right. We're seeing a lot of ground balls from Marcell Ozuna.
So he's had a tough road trip, hitting under 200.
The White Sox come into this ball game. They've dropped 5 straight, and in those 5 games, 36 runs allowed. They have gotten beaten up.
Got swept in a series, the most recent one by the Astros, so you can understand that.
It's a ball and a strike. Covey was a top pick of Milwaukee back in 2010. Did not sign. Went to pitch for Tony Gwynn at San Diego.
And he also is a type 1 diabetic, just like Jordan Hicks. I was telling Jordan today that Ron Santo was a type 1 diabetic, and he had to hide it from baseball at that time because he felt like they wouldn't let him play.
2-1 pitch. Ozuna to the right side, and there's Moncada, and the Cardinals strand a runner. A walk by Martinez. Miles Michaelis to the mound, the All-Star, when we come back. And a look at his journey to the big leagues. It started out in Texas with San Diego, then went over to Japan for 3 years. Signed a 2-year deal with the Cardinals. 9-3 in that ERA of 2.63. It currently is the 6th lowest in the National League. Michaelis beat the Diamondbacks in his last start. He allowed 2 runs in 6 innings, an eventual 8-4 win. The Cardinals, by the way, have won 11 of his 17 starts. And there's a look at his Hyundai pitch arsenal.
All you say is strike thrower, because that's what he does. He just leads off all the time. High percentage, best in the league in first pitch strikes.
Couple of switch hitters at the top of their lineup. Moncada and Sanchez, then Abreu, Palka, Davidson, Garcia, Narvaez, Anderson, and Charlie Tilson, who was in the Cardinal system and then traded for Zach Duke. The strike to Moncada. He's got 11 home runs. Switch hitter from this side of the plate, 254 the average, overall 233. Every year the Cardinals increase their footprint in Asia and scouting the players in Japan, and what a great signing this has been. Miles Michaelis, especially when you consider where he was after the first 2 starts of spring training, and we really didn't know a lot about him. We thought the Cardinals were just taking a flyer on him, and boys, it paid off.
It's just fun to watch him pitch because he doesn't go out and max effort. He just spots the ball, and then when he needs to up the ante, he can do that with 98, but he lives around 94.
The 2-2. Swung on and missed, and a strikeout. Take a look at our Kia Drive to Success. Michaelis nationally ranks among ERA qualifiers. You look at the total package, it is an all-star campaign, Miles Michaelis.
And he really does control the game. You know, a starting pitcher is going to set the tone, but when you have numbers like he does, first pitch strikes, best in the league, going out there, his whip is very low. Just goes out and attacks the strike zone. Keeps everything out of the middle of the plate. And this is his 18th start. He's walked 17 for the year, and 2 of those were intentional passes.
That's how you don't beat yourself, that's
right,
for sure.
That's a great way of talking about it. You don't beat yourself. Give yourself and your team a chance to win.
Sanchez, the switch hitter, 1 ball and 1 strike. You mentioned whip, and it's 5th best in the National League. Walks plus hits per inning, so it's a measure the number of base runners a pitcher is allowed per inning, and it's barely over 1. That's slapped foul.
He's allowed 96 hits and 109 2/3 innings, and then only walked 17.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Struck him out. Flips up a breaking ball, and back-to-back Ks for Michaelis. The Cardinals defensively, Ozuna, Pham, and Fowler. Jerko, DeYoung, Wong, and Carpenter on the infield. Around the horn, presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. And the all-star behind the plate, Yadier Molina. All-star at the plate, Jose Abreu.
I told Jose Martinez about that comparison between he and Abreu, and he said he talked to Abreu. Abreu's almost a little embarrassed that the fans vote at first base with the struggles he's having right now. But, you know, the fans voted him in. It's an exhibition game for the fans, and so you have to accept it. But he is a very good hitter.
And the 1-1 is hit out of play. I mentioned Pham at center. Meant to say Jairo Munoz in center field. Pham the late scratch. 1 ball and 2 strikes. There's Munoz in center. Fowler in right, Ozuna in left. The 1-2 pitch. And even right there, everything around the plate.
Sure. And you know, part of the beauty of pitching is get ahead in the count and then have a hitter expand his zone. So by purpose, you're a little bit off the plate.
That's it out of play.
Talking with Mike Maddox about Michaelis, because he was with, you know, for about a month or so, he had Michaelis of the Texas Rangers before he went to Japan. So, I mean, just to see what he's evolved into, he's loving it.
And a ground ball ranging to the left side. Wow, what a play. Colton Wong takes a hit away from Abreu. Buster Posey was headed to the Midsummer Classic, has come up with a hip injury, and so Yadier Molina got the call last night. Well deserved, too.
Yeah, I have to be excited about that. It may sound a little funny because Buster Posey played last night's game. But with the type of injury he has, he's probably going to wait till the weekend and then have the ejection, so it doesn't hurt his team, and then he wouldn't have been able to play for the All-Star game.
Here's the 0-1 pitch and a ground ball foul. 0-2. That first inning, Kobe threw 19 pitches. Cardinals only swung at 5 of those. He's gone to 0-2 quickly here on Yadier Molina. The strikeout of Molina, number 3 tonight.
That looked like the splitter right there. The way that had the downward action. And yet he didn't have the grip.
And Jerko pulls it foul for strike 1. Jed at third base tonight. Mentioned that the White Sox have dropped 5 in a row and 9 of their last 11.
They're one of the clubs that's in a rebuilding phase. Everyone getting excited and saying, well, saw what Houston did last year, what the Cubs did 2 years ago by tanking for a few years. Remember, they got rid of a lot of their top players to stock their farm system.
Phillies did that as well, and they're playing good baseball right now. AL Central, how about the Kansas City Royals at 25-65, 24 and a half games out. They have dropped 10 in a row. That's why you get the feeling it'll be a very active trade deadline. A lot of teams, I'm sure, right now, as we speak, open for business.
Rick Renteria, remember, he was with the Cubs doing a nice job with them, and before Madden took over.
3 hops hit the short. Tim Anderson up with it. That's out number 2.
That was when they were in the rebuilding phase.
Number of years in the system of the San Diego Padres.
Yeah,
really noted as a great teacher.
You know, and knows that how to take care of the younger players, how to work them in. But maybe not fair when he was let go with the Cubs, but that's the game of baseball. It's not always fair.
Here's Dexter Fowler, his second start since coming back from the paternity list. Met with the Chicago media today. Said he just wants to play, trying to get back on track.
It's a tough situation for not only Dexter, but also for Mike Matheny. You know, Dexter's right. You know, how are you going to get your timing down and get your rhythm if you don't play? And yet, you know, you just can't. It's a team sport. You can't just let it sit for one player. So when you're in there, you got to produce.
Well, you're also getting to the point of the season you can't get buried. And
sure,
if it's April and May, you stick with him every day, let him work himself out of it. But right now it's been a struggle, and he's got guys pushing him. And Fowler strikes out, so that's 4 in 2 innings. No score here in Chicago. Check in with Jim Hayes. Jimmy.
Dan, Yadier Molina was planning on kind of hanging around St. Louis over the All-Star break, watching the All-Star game on television. Those plans changed last night. That's when Yadi got a call telling him that he'd be replacing Buster Posey on the National League All-Star team. As you guys mentioned, it's Yadi's 9th All-Star appearance. Yadi told me it's always an honor to be on the All-Star team. This one is special because I wasn't expecting it. Yadi said it's also special going with Miles Michaelis, who will be making his first All-Star appearance. Yadi told me seeing him get so emotional made me feel good to be part of it. And guys, Yadi turns 36 on Friday. Francisco Pena told me Yadi plays like he's 25. He said he's a machine.
1-1 pitch, and it's fouled back. You know, a lot of people in San Francisco and here in Chicago, a lot of Cardinal fans walking around town. Most commonly asked question I got now was, how's Jim doing? They didn't see him over the weekend. Well, now he's back with us.
Flew in with Jim yesterday, and he had his name tag on his shirt so he wouldn't get lost.
It's good to have him back.
Oh, it's great to have him back.
I don't know what that means, Al.
The name tag, or great to have you back?
The name tag part, but whatever.
Aaron put a little pinned a little name and address where you were going.
Okay, carry on, Al.
Polka strikes out, and Michaelis has struck out 3 of the 4. We turn to Al's Toyota keys to the game.
Miles, pitch like an all-star, because that's what you are. And that is really great for all of us to see that. But also, we don't play down to your competition. Now, the White Sox are rebuilding. They're struggling. Play above them. You got to just take this and hopefully you get that quick early lead, and then you don't let them in this game at all.
We have seen 11 hitters combined. 7 have struck out. And where is that pitch? It's a strike. John Mozeliak, the Cardinals president of baseball operations, telling me that Michaelis, they had a little text conversation, if you will, going back and forth, and he said Miles was so excited and so proud to get to the All-Star game, but also to represent the Cardinals. Very appreciative. The Cardinals reached out to him. Contract that is very healthy, pays him a lot of money, and brought him back to the States. Just missed. Kerwin Danley is the crew chief, and right now he's not giving many of those low strikes to either side.
Yeah, neither side is very happy with the strike zone.
It's whacked foul. Matt Davidson at the plate, batting .226. He does have 14 home runs.
And he actually hit a home run one game. The next day he had to pitch. And they said he had a 1-2-3 inning and got it up to 92.
And a swing and a miss in that strikeout number 4 for Michaelis.
Just a simple delivery. Doesn't max out at all. But by doing so, he's spotting the ball. Not the best breaking ball right there, but this is a team that was going to strike out a lot. You know, the White Sox, so get ahead and then let them span the zone.
And a strike on Garcia. He's hitting .274. 248 from this side of the plate, 340 from the right side. 0-1 pitch, curveball, and a beauty. He's got that working really well tonight.
And you know, a lot of guys just throw a curveball and they throw it right in the middle of the plate, think that it's good enough. He still spots it. And you get ahead in the count, you let the ball run a little bit away, try to get him to chase. The White Sox are tied with Texas Rangers, the second most strikeouts in baseball.
A lot of red in the seats tonight. Cardinal fans here in Chicago. That's fouled back. Cardinals have the off day on Thursday. 3 with the Reds in the All-Star break, and a 5-game series beginning with the Cubs. 5 games in 4 days. Strikes out the side here in inning number 2. Looks very sharp tonight. Bottom dropped out of this one. No score after 2. Television, you can stream games live on your mobile device. Download the Fox Sports Go app, log in and stream the Cardinals. Well, between the two pitchers, 9 strikeouts and not 1 ball has been hit out of the infield. Jairo Munoz leads it off for the Cardinals. And a ground ball, 1 pitch, 1 out. Brings in Colton Wong.
Colton's had a real nice road trip. 368, 7 for 19, and how important was it to see a couple of those extra base hits in Arizona and San Francisco? Trying to get his weight back and drive the ball to the opposite field.
And you'd love seeing him in the lineup in terms of his defense, and he's already shown that with a play ranging to his left. He's got his average above 200. It's at 208.
Just the maturity that he's shown as a ball player. A couple of years ago, it was his struggles offensively he would carry to the field, but no longer.
And a ground ball to his counterpart at second base, Moncada. There's 2 away. 2018 Camping World MLB All-Star Final Vote ends tomorrow at 3 Central. Matt Carpenter in the running, so make your final vote selection for Carpenter. Cardinals.com/vote. He's got 2 outs now on 3 pitches. We're at the top of the 3rd. Carpenter called out on strikes his first time up.
Matt wasn't happy with a couple of those strikes the first time up.
2 balls and 1 strike. Vote Carp in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now this catcher doesn't have the same technique or the soft hands that, say, Yachty has, and a lot of times the way he catches the ball, it'll take a low strike away from his pitching staff.
3-1 pitch. 3-2. Nobody on, 2 outs, and a full count on Matt Carpenter. There's your first hit of the game. Base hit into right.
That's the way Carp took that 3-1 pitch, and then a little bit of mislocation on the 3-2 pitch, and he laces it for the base hit.
GMC leaderboard, the highest OPS since May 16th. That was when Carpenter was batting right around that 150 mark. And since then, he has taken off. Here's Paul DeYoung, struck out first time up from Antioch, Illinois. And that's a base hit into right. Runners at first and second with 2 outs. And the batter will be Jose Martinez.
Well, DeYoung's hitting 6 straight ball games, so might have been on the disabled list for about 7 weeks, but he's come back and swinging a bat well. Garcia, this ball almost took off on him, and it took him a while to get the ball back into the infield.
Last plate appearance, Jose Martinez a walk in his first since June 23rd at Milwaukee. So nearly 55 plate appearances for a guy that'll take a fair share of walks and a very good batter's eye. Strike 1. His eyes, well, they got big on that swing.
Yes, he did. He lights the ball up. He's 6'7". It's amazing how he can fall off a lot of pitches that are down in the zone, but you get the ball up to top of the strike zone, that's the ball he really likes.
Charlie Tilson, the center fielder for the White Sox, buried deep. Big gap in left center. Now time is called. Tilson, the former Cardinal, at least in the minor league system.
He's had a tough time staying healthy with the White Sox.
Base hit. Carpenter will score. Jose Martinez makes it a 1-0 St. Louis lead. 3 consecutive singles with 2 outs here at the top of the 3rd.
54th RBI. Martinez. Not easy to get 2 out base hits, but boy, that's what you got to do. Leaving that ball right in the middle of the plate. Belt high, and he belted it. And Tilson was playing him a little bit to right center, so that guaranteed that Carpenter would come around to score. And good to see Paul DeYoung take advantage of that and get himself over to 3rd also.
3 hits in the last 4 pitches after he got the first 2 outs on 3 pitches. There's Marcell Ozuna. It was the 20th hit with runners in scoring position and 2 outs for Martinez, which leads all of baseball. And there's what's been going on with this right-hander. Some good, some bad.
Yeah, you see the first 6 starts, he was very good. Last 4, 0-3, 13.2 ERA, and he's allowed 6 home runs. Right now, the Cardinals are singling him to death. It's a slow, painful death. Here's
a 1-0 to Ozuna. Marcel grounded out to second, first time up. Of the 54 driven in by Jose Martinez, 30 have come with 2 outs.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. Second most in all of baseball. One and 2 the count. Long look, he's finally set. And the 1-2. 2-2. Mentioned that the White Sox are 30 below the 500 mark. First time they've been at this point 30 games below 500 since the end of the 2013 season.
Only won 16 games at home, 14 on the road.
The 2-2 pitch to Ozuna. Into right and a base hit. 2-0 Cardinals. That's now 4 consecutive hits with 2 outs here in the top of the third. White Sox pitching coach Don Cooper is missing tonight's game. Had hand surgery yesterday here in town. He's expected to return to the club tomorrow. So Kurt Hassler, their bullpen coach, is serving as the pitching coach tonight.
Don Cooper been around a long time and a very good pitching coach. It's got to be killing him to have to go through this rebuilding phase.
There's Yadier Molina. 4 consecutive hits for the Cardinals. Struck out swinging back in the second.
Second time through the order, everybody's got a better idea what they're doing.
A pickoff, and Martinez back in safely. Not the most graceful dive back into the bag.
That's why he's cleaning it up there, because he must have got stuck a little bit.
He needed every bit of being 6'7" to get back in.
I was thinking the same thing, you know. His lower body got stuck in the mud. But he does have a reach.
Oh yeah, a long one at that. That swing right there, to me, is why Molina has power. I mean, he takes a chance, he'll guess, and you'll see the higher leg kick with that. Gets a little bit more power with it. And then with 2 strikes, it's cut down. You'll see him go to right. He's a smart player.
Oh, absolutely. You know, you got an understanding what pitchers are trying to do to you. Set up guys. And their willingness to go to the opposite field helps out too. But even Buster Posey was kind of remarking and hoping to learn something about from Yadi and his power. Marvels at what he can do.
Nothing in 2 the count with 2 outs and 2 on. Are you a fan of this ballpark?
Nothing special to me.
Come to Chicago, we're so used to Wrigley and the history there.
You know, it's a lot better than old Kaminsky.
Guaranteed rate ballpark. And a high fly ball Into right. Garcia back and makes the catch on the track. Cardinals with 4 consecutive singles and a 2-0 lead. Take home a limited edition bobblehead celebrating Adam Wainwright's Silver Slugger Award, courtesy of SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. That's this Saturday. Well, before his stint in Japan and now with the Cardinals, Miles Michaelis has done something tonight he had never done before, and that's 5 strikeouts in his first 2 innings of a start. Narvaez, Anderson, and Tilson. 7, 8, and 9. And the first pitch drops in for a strike. And a base hit into center field. First hit tonight for the White Sox.
You throw as many strikes as he does, you're going to give up some base hits. A little bit too much of the middle of the plate, but if there are singles, and he gets a fair share of ground balls, hopefully he can turn 2 with a double play.
A lot of credit goes to Matt Slater, Jeff Ishii, the Cardinals front office for finding and bringing back Miles Michaelis from Japan. About 10 years ago, Cardinals would have about 1 person for 1 week in Japan, scouting, looking at players. And now there's multiple trips, looks, video, the analytics. All of it came together in the signing of Miles Michaelis.
Had a little luck.
High fly ball out to deep left center. It's at the wall and off the top of the wall. Munoz has got it. A ball that gets through the legs of Colton Wong, and a double for Tim Anderson.
Well, Anderson has that rare combination of power and speed. He's got 21 steals on the year, and he's also hit 13 home runs. So you can't take him lightly. And now we're going to have to, Miles is going to have to pitch out of the jam. Weren't quite sure whether that ball is going to get out or not. So runner first base, he had to wait and hold up, then he could take off when he saw it off the wall, but couldn't score.
Now Charlie Tilson.
Charlie can run too.
Oh yeah. Hitting 268. Traded for Zach Duke, and he comes back home. Grew up in Chicago and grew up a White Sox fan. His younger brother is an accomplished musician and is actually at a specialized school for music. His parents have a place in downtown Chicago, so they're always at the ballpark checking out Charlie. Shows bunt, and then that one caught Molina off his wrist. You know, this hit Tilson, but I think what they're going to say is that he offered at it.
Sure. He's trying to bunt it. Went off the bat, which preceded the ball hitting him in the leg.
Get off the left arm of Molina. And it's no balls and 2 strikes.
Backdoor the curveball. Tilson missed all of last season with a stress reaction in his right foot. He made his major league debut in August 2nd of 2016. And that was before leaving the game and missing the rest of the year with a torn left hamstring. So really tough time staying healthy.
Hit out of play. He was on the Caravan with both of us a couple of years ago. Likable guy, was highly thought of in the Cardinals system. Terrific speed, as you mentioned.
Yeah, he was his second-round draft pick in 2011 for the St. Louis.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Charlie Tilson. Ground ball, base hit into right. 1 run is in. Here comes another. The throw is cut off, and we're tied 2-2.
Another breaking ball, but you can see it doesn't have, it's got that little hump on it, ended up too high, pulled to the right side, Butler almost gets it. Just if he could have knocked it down and kept it on the infield.
Well, this inning, Michaelis was ahead of all 3 hitters, but all 3 have gotten hits. Single, double, and another single, and we're tied 2-2. So a few springs ago that Charlie Tilson was off to the races anytime he got on base.
But you would think with that torn hamstring, the stress reaction in the foot last year, he's attempted 5 steals and only successful twice. But you're right, when we saw him, he could run. One thing the White Sox can do is they can steal bases.
Two balls and no strikes.
Tilson was really leaning and might have been a little bit of a quick pitch there by Michaelis to try and counteract it, but you lose the control.
3-0. Three and one.
It almost looked like he swung at it, but not winning any fans with the tossing the bat with the umpire crew.
It's the first 3-ball count of the night, and that's fouled back. Very close to our colleague Rick Horton. Working on the radio side, and that foul ball is coming screaming in, and Ricky seemed to be scared. 3-2 pitch. Runner goes, and it is popped up. Jed Jerko under it and makes the catch. Reminder that Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Missouri Baptist Medical Center. Doctors call it world-class medicine. You'll call it MoBap. And by the $4.99 Jack's Spicy Chicken Club Combo with toasted sourdough, new from Jack in the Box. Sanchez struck out first time up, 0 for 1. That gets away from Molina. A strike on Sanchez, and now eliminates the potential of a double play. Wild pitch charge to Michaelis. That's a tough one to get.
Yeah.
You were in San Francisco with the sponsors.
Yes, I was.
Good times had by all, I understand.
Yeah. A lot of the Cardinal employees and some of the special people with group sales.
There's a fly ball out to left. Ozuna with the catch. And that's 2 away. Jose Abreu. Abreu grounded out with Colton Wong ranging far to his left first time up.
Mentioned he's tied for fourth in the American League with 27 doubles, but just one in his last 23 games. So he's on pace for 49.
And a ground ball that's hit to short. DeYoung up with it, and he makes the play. 3 consecutive hits to start the bottom of the third. And the White Sox have tied it up. It's 2-2. As presented by the authority of the Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. And that's hit down the left field line. Fair. Extra bases for Jed Jerko. And a leadoff double to start play here in the top of the fourth.
Looks like he loves that pitch up. Jumped on the first one. Got to be careful with throwing a fastball, and especially when it's up. That's exactly what Jerko's looking for.
Here's Dexter Fowler. Move him over to third or bring him in. Little flare out to shallow left, and that's a base hit. Jerko is held up at third base. And Fowler 1 for 2 with that soft liner into left field.
Second time through the order, everybody but Molina's gotten a base hit. Run hard.
Well, with the DH being used here, not the pitcher in the 9 spot, no chances there by Jose Oquendo to send Jed Jerko. So runners at the corners and Munoz.
And you know, Munoz 0 for 1 tonight, but 368 with a couple home runs on the road trip. This is kind of how we saw Munoz win a job in spring training, the way he's swinging the bat now. And then adding shortstop and center field makes you a very versatile player.
There's a chopper but a foul ball off his foot. Munoz in for Tommy Pham, who's dealing with a sore foot. Our Lowe's whole team together. Cardinals offense on the trip. 286 average, the home runs.
Should be a better record than 4-3 with
24 extra base hits in that amount of time.
And look at what their average, what was it, 340 plus with runners in scoring position. You know, Bader also got hit in the hamstring, so that's another reason why he's not in the lineup today too.
I can't believe what you were saying earlier about AJ Pierzynski.
You can't believe what AJ is doing at the ballpark today. We've seen him more the last 2 weeks than we saw when he played for us.
AJ Pierzynski in the booth. A White Sox legend, no doubt.
Got a very special promotion going on.
Ouch. This time he hits the dirt. 0-2 on Munoz.
There's a neat bobblehead of AJ with white hair, and they're selling these bobbleheads for Make-A-Wish. Proceeds go to Make-A-Wish. And it's really a neat bobblehead.
Good stuff.
Throw another sinker here.
Absolutely. Bear one in, huh? It's a tough game.
You're a little sadistic, yes.
And he goes away. Shocking. And I mean that in all seriousness. I mean, guy fouls one off his shin or his foot, you go right back there, and usually they're a little tentative to swing the bat.
Exactly. Say no. Good sinking fastball and just hit on top of the foot again.
And Fowler back in safely.
Sure, they know a lot about Munoz. Look at the right fielder, how close he is to the right field line.
And the 1-2 pitch to Munoz. Chop left side in the hole. They'll get one there. The turn and safe at first. The run scores, and the Cardinals go back on top 3-2.
Munoz had to run hard to stay out of the double play, but it gets rewarded with the RBI, his 23rd.
And the batter will be Colton Wong. Cardinals led 2-0. White Sox tied it up 2-2, and now 3-2. Cardinals on top. Shift on for Wong. Munoz, your runner at first. Saw today where longtime weatherman Dave Murray announced his retirement.
Really?
Not immediate, but believe it'll be in the fall at some point. But happy retirement to Dave Murray.
Yeah. Marketplace for a long time.
That's a base hit into right center. Munoz to third. Munoz being waved in. He hesitated just a bit, and the throw to the plate, they're going to get him. They're going to get him. I think he thought he was going to be held up. He wasn't, and with that, he's brought in and brought out.
Just talking about how the right fielder is playing close to the right field line, but there he slides to cut the ball off, picks it up, hits a cutoff man, Anderson, and then they fire a strike home. He still made them execute, and they were equal to the task. Got to give him a lane. Tries to avert the tag, but he's tagged up. Remember, he fouled a couple of those balls off his foot, and I think he's feeling that going around the bases.
Here's Carpenter, and that pitch in the dirt.
Now, Dan, I will say this. Jose Oquendo has been the best third base coach I've seen in a long, long time. And part of it, your job, is you're going to get a couple guys thrown out. And even at the major league level, when you make people execute, and the White Sox are not a good defensive club. In this case, they just had the relay and they made the play. I also think, like you were saying, that I think Munoz thought he was going to not be brought home.
That slight hesitation cost him. One ball and one strike on Matt Carpenter. 1 for 2 on the night with a single and a run scored.
Never forget Tommy Reynolds, who was Tony La Russa's first third base coach when he came to the National League and the Cardinals. And Jack Buck at a banquet one afternoon introduced him as Dr. Kevorkian. That's tough.
It up.
That's tough. But it summed up his abilities as third base coach. Tommy's a good guy, but he had a tough time.
And the 1-2 is hit out of play. Could see it both ways, pushing it, sending Munoz, and also with Carpenter coming up into Young, top of the lineup, holding him at that point, seeing what you can get. Regardless, thrown out at the plate, 3-2 our score. Inside corner, and he just missed.
What would we be saying about that decision to send him home if that ball skipped by the catcher? got that, that sinker, that kind of ball that left-handed batters give up on, and then breaks back to the corner. Make Greg Maddux famous.
And a strikeout of Carpenter. 5th of the 9th. Cardinals back on top. Ankle of Munoz. And take a look again, going from first to third. And right about here.
There.
Yeah. You can see him just hesitate ever so slightly, and that probably cost him maybe a step and just enough to get him at the plate.
And you could tell that where he fouled that ball off at least twice in that at bat. It kind of still bothering him. That's why they taped it up.
This is David Polka at the plate. Was called out on strikes back in the second inning. Inning that Michaelis struck out the side. And the 0-1 pitch. Pulled foul, nothing at 2. It's turned out to be a beautiful night for baseball here in Chicago. Got the feeling of a San Francisco night. It's really cooled off. It's warm today, warm yesterday.
Very warm today, and as you said, but beautiful evening. Good evening for a Cardinal victory.
Pulled foul.
Polka's a rookie. He's 3rd in home runs, 4th in extra base hits. A lot of extra base hits for him. And his exit speed is what got the White Sox pretty pleased about. He's actually hit one ball over 118 miles per hour. The exit velocity of one of his hits this year. And
a swing and a miss. Strikeout number 6 for Michaelis as we check in again with Jim Hayes. Jimmy.
Dan Dexter Fowler getting the start in right field tonight. Still trying to find a way to jumpstart his season. Dex is hitting 170, and he's not happy about it. I asked him how difficult this season has been on a personal level. He told me it challenges you. It challenges your patience. You just have to try to help the team out in any way you can. Dex was also asked if he thinks his struggles could be somehow related to getting his big contract. Dex said people make it about the contract. You're going to struggle in this game. I had struggles before I got the contract. Dan Deck's back in Chicago, so as you can imagine, a lot of media attention for Dex today.
He was out early taking BP and then met with the media. And a fly ball lifted out to Fowler. And he's there to make the catch. That's out number 2. So 2 outs, and it brings in Garcia.
All up there. The one thing about Dexter, he's got that long stride, just kind of glides to a ball and gets to a lot of balls that looking like he's running full speed, but he gets there.
Michaelis with 6 strikeouts. Garcia struck out back in the second. Ground ball long to his left. Gobbles it up, no problem. And a 1-2-3 inning for Miles Michaelis. Three to 2 our score, top of 5. And that pitch taken low and outside. DeYoung with a single to right field and a run scored back in the 3rd. Hits it on the ground to short. Bobbled and a base hit. Anderson with the air.
Right there, that Paul DeYoung, sure, he's disappointed. He rolled over on a pitch, but he ran to first base. Would have been very embarrassing if he did not run hard and then not be able to get to first base after the shortstop drops it, throws him out. So once again, run. Come out of the batter's box. Sure, you're disappointed, but run hard and good things can happen. What do I always say, Danny?
You hustle and you'll never embarrass yourself. Among other things you said.
Yeah, that wouldn't make sense though.
Most errors in baseball this year. Cardinals 74. The White Sox now is 69.
It's Tim Anderson's 13th error.
Tied for the 2nd most among shortstops.
They've got 26 errors between their second baseman and shortstop. And we've already seen a couple balls that would go through base hits that Colton Wong has saved the Cardinals. 2 of them tonight already.
And the 1-1. 1-2. Martinez, an RBI base hit to center in the third. It's now driven in 54. A lot of room on the right side of the infield. He's one of the guys, Martinez, with 2 strikes. It'll take that ball to right. Two and two. Mentioned it earlier how this catcher, while he's been hitting at times when he's catching defensively, low pitches, instead of being with soft hands, he could stab at him. That low strike goes away from the pitcher.
Yeah, it's really.
That's whacked into center field and a base hit. So DeYoung reached on the air. Now base hit by Martinez. The Cardinals have 8 hits tonight.
What we know about Jose Martinez in 10 years in the minor leagues, well, part of that time was with the White Sox organization. There he gets a breaking ball and just sends it right back up the middle. His second hit of the night. He's getting a little satisfaction doing that against the White Sox.
There's Marcell Ozuna, base hit to right on a 2-2 pitch. Picked up his 48th run driven in. Cardinals 6 for 10 with men on base. And Jose Martinez is starting to get hot. That's now 5 base hits in his last 6 plate appearances to go along as well with a walk. And the 1-0 pitch to Marcell Ozuna. The fly ball lifted out to center. Charlie Tilson with the catch. DeYoung tagging up from second to third. Want to buy or sell tickets at the last minute? Get the StubHub app. You can grab 100% MLB verified tickets until the first pitch, or sell your extras to another fan. Get the StubHub app today. StubHub, official partner of your St. Louis Cardinals.
So important for Paul DeYoung to tag up there. Get over to third base with less than 2 outs. You should be able to pick up an easy run. Stay out of the double play.
A lot of room on that right side of the infield. Yachty could just shoot one to right field and pick up an RBI. Hit one to the track, back into third, and also struck out in the second, swinging. And a high fly ball lifted into deep right center. Tilson with the catch. Everybody tagging, and that includes Martinez from first to second, and DeYoung scoring, and it's back to a 2-run, a Cardinal lead.
That ball is deep enough. You hit a ball about 300 feet, you're going to be deep enough for the sac fly. But this ball is deep enough where you can see Martinez immediately come back, getting in his sprinter stance, and then take it off. Get yourself in scoring position, and now you hopefully could score on a base hit. And with Jerko up, could be an extra base hit pretty easy.
And the first pitch taken for a ball. Jerko a double into the left field corner back in the fourth, and grounded out to short. Hitting .400 this season with runners in scoring position. A ball and a strike. Out of play. The 1-2 pitch to Jed Jerko. Not a bad crowd tonight after the off day yesterday for St. Louis, spent here in Chicago at interleague play at Guaranteed Rate Ballpark, where it just rolls off the tongue.
That does. And real nice crowd considering how the White Sox are playing.
Sure. The 2-2 pitch.
But, you know, if you're a club like the White Sox rebuilding, and obviously it looks like they've got their fans buying into the rebuild. Earlier in the season, Dan, there were 7 ball clubs that were on pace to lose 100 games.
There's not a lot of teams in the middle. There's teams that are competitive, and there's teams that have no chance.
Yeah, especially like in the Central Division of the American League. You've got Cleveland, the only team over 500. Is that still the case?
It is. A 2-out walk for Jed Jerko, and the batter is Dexter Fowler.
Dex can't get a multi-kid game, drive in a run, kind of get things going in the right direction.
Runners at first and second. Get a soft liner to left for a base hit, struck out. And looks at a ball a little bit low. No activity yet for the White Sox in their bullpen.
Looks like they're stirring, and their relievers climbing out of there.
And Fowler hits it down the left field line. Foul. Cleveland has the 10th best record in all of baseball, and yet they lead their division by 8.5 games. To further your point.
Yeah, that's over Minnesota, and Minnesota's 8 games under 500. So Chicago 19.5 games back. Kansas City 24.5.
Here's a 1-1. The strike to Fowler, 1-2. Dexter talked about it the other day, making that start first time back. His bat was kind of dragging a little bit, timing an issue. Just looking to speed it up. Here's a 1-2 pitch now to Dexter Fowler. And a ground ball hit to the right side. Cardinals strand a pair. 4-2 St. Louis. It's Luke Weaver coming off a terrific start. Told me at the team hotel the ball just felt good in his hands that night, and it looked good. Everything exploding, late movement, throwing strikes, went deep into the game.
That was awesome. That game, he kind of pulled that one out of nowhere, and hopefully he can build on it. He gave up the first hit and to lead off the 8th. That it?
6th. Had a perfect game going into the 6th. Gave up a hit, and then it was an infield hit. Then after that, a 2-run homer, and that was it.
And as you said, career high 8 innings. Something to build off of.
Michaelis tonight has given up a pair of runs. He has struck out 6 and no walks.
And the first 6 in the batting order, 0 for 12. The last 3 are 3 for 3. How odd is that?
Just missed, and it's a 2-2 count.
Last 3 in the batting order, a little tougher in the American League without the pitcher hitting. But those are you have to dominate those last 3. And in this case, he's retired the first 6 batters twice and then give up 3 hits in the 3rd inning when they scored their 2.
And that's fouled back. Most clubs put a lot of money in their DH, big time hitters. So for National League teams coming to an American League park, disadvantage. When the American League teams coming to the National League, their pitchers hitting, not used to doing that, even bunting. Something as simple as a bunt is anything but simple. 3-2 pitch. Out of play again.
That's why I find it so surprising that since it's really the start of interleague play, or at least recently, American League teams have won those head-to-head matchups. I think this year the National League leads, but that's kind of been a rarity the last few decades.
This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat. And the 3-2. Pulled foul again. Good battle here.
Ron Bloomberg, back in, I believe, 73 was the first DH.
Pretty good battle going on right here. So we pitch number 70. 4 straight foul balls. And a ground ball that's hit to Wong. So Michaelis wins the battle. This Friday, 30,000 fans 16 and older take home a Cowboyette featuring the bird on the bat logo, courtesy of Brown and Crouppen. And get your July 13th Cardinals Reds tickets at cardinals.com/promotions.
I'm going to be tending bar at the Champions Club on the 13th.
This Friday.
That's right.
The UMB Champions Club. Hit up the middle. DeYoung to his left. And there's 2 outs. Brings in Charlie Tilson, who singled to right. And that single brought in 2. It's a different looking Reds team coming to town too. They have obviously gotten a lot better under Jim Riggleman.
Just 11 games under 500, but I believe they're over 500 since Riggleman has taken over.
Here's a 1-0. A ball and a strike. 37 and 36. With Jim Riggleman as their manager.
6-4 in the last 10. And you know they can hit. And you know they got a good closer. So I mean, and not a bad setup guy. So
not a bad first baseman.
No, they can score some runs.
2-1 pitch. 2-2.
What do they have? 3 All-Stars? You know, how many last place clubs are going to have 3 All-Stars, and they're all genuine?
Just missed on the inside corner. Three and 2 here on Charlie Tilson. And a ground ball taken there by Carpenter to the bag. Game July 17th, only on Fox. Stream it live on the Fox Sports app. Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, they'll be there. Miles Michaelis, Yadier Molina, maybe Matt Carpenter. Voting open until 3 o'clock tomorrow. Jairo Munoz, the ground out, picked up an RBI. He's in center tonight. Our esteemed director Tom Mee kept a camera on him after the 2 foul balls off his foot or his shin. It looked like they taped up that area, and now he's got a shin guard there on the front left leg. And he breaks his bat. Pulled foul, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. This is the ballpark that Stephen Piscotty made his major league debut in a few years ago here in Chicago.
He's been swinging the bat real well of late.
Stephen traded to Oakland. Munoz part of that deal. Max Schrock as well. Remember, Anthony Reyes was pitching a gem in a game that we were doing until a, I believe, Jim Thome home run down the right field line. Yeah. White Sox won the 2005 World Series. That's the last American League pennant that they've taken home. That was against Houston.
What year was that?
2005.
Well, they won the World Series that one.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
They're going to honor their 93 club this weekend.
One ball, one strike on Munoz. 2-1.
'17 to 2005, a little time in between. There's the '93 club they're going to honor.
Munoz hits it up the middle, and it's under the glove of Moncada and a base hit. So a leadoff hit for Jairo Munoz here in the 6th.
Talking about Munoz. He is 8 for 21 now on this road trip. Hit a couple home runs and did a heck of a job in the absence of Paul DeYoung.
They carry 4 lefties in their pen, and Rick Renteria will go to one of those 4. This will be Jace Fry. 4-2 our score. We're in the top of the 6th. Nobody out and a runner at first when we come back. For heroes, Johnny Mize, U.S. Navy in the mid-1940s, 6 years with the Cardinals, a 10-time All-Star, World Series champ 5 different years, in the Hall of Fame in 1981 for Johnny Mize.
A big cat. He was a big man back then.
There's Colton Wong. Look at this beautiful bunt. Boy, he deadened that perfectly. And his second hit of the night to go along with his double back in the 4th.
You can just tell he's hitting with a lot more confidence right now. Feels like he's got a chance, and why not bunt when you can lay down a perfect one there? Just catches it perfectly, get it out on the grass, but got to deaden it so it doesn't get to the pitcher, far enough away from the catcher that they can just put it in their pocket.
So Fry is into the ball game, 29th appearance. Our Chevy called to the pen. Another reason you drop down a bunt. Lefty's hitting .083.
He's really had a tough time of late, surrounded runs in each of his last 3 outings and a 16 ERA. Opponents are batting .400 during that time, but you'd have to think he's getting some success against left-handed batters.
Oh, 0-2 on Carpenter.
Cardinals now with 8 bunt hits this year, and Wong has half of those. Carpenter is 1 for 3, struck out in the first. A single to right, a run scored in the third, and a strikeout back in the fourth. 1-2. The BJC Healthcare difference maker. Hits up and down the lineup for the Cardinals. 10 of them thus far.
Not he's the only one without a hit, but he does have a sac fly in this game, and it's early.
Third straight inning, and the Cardinals have had the first 2 runners reach, and somehow that stays in front, and the Cardinals do not advance.
Just
good play.
Just bad enough that it bounced so far out in front of the plate that catcher was able to block it here.
We got to wonder if Rick Renteria goes back to his pen after this at bat by Carpenter.
I would say so, Danny, with how Fry has struggled at lately. I mentioned that it said opponents are batting .400 against him, 6 for 15 in his last 3 outings.
That's pulled foul. Attendance tonight 23,245. 2-3, 2-4-5.
Carpenter at the very least has to get Munoz over to third. Wouldn't mind seeing what he did Sunday afternoon as a pinch hitting role.
Good at bat by Carpenter, and now the bases are loaded.
Got a righty warming up, but it looks like they're going to stay with the lefty against Paul.
Munoz the single to center, bunt hit by Colton Wong, a walk for Matt Carpenter. That's his 52nd to lead the club. They're sticking with the lefty for DeYoung. And a strike. Paul's been on base twice, reached on an error, and also a single to right. 2 runs scored.
Perfect timing for your first career grand slam.
Inside, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Jose Martinez at the on-deck circle. He's been on base 3 times. What a chance here for the Cardinals. Bases loaded. And nobody out. One and two. Paul telling me a lot of his friends from Illinois State have made the trip to Chicago to see him play. The 1-2 pitch. And he waves at it and strikes out.
Yeah, I saw a few people with the young jerseys, and now they'll go and make the pitching change.
This will be Bruce Rondon to face Jose Martinez with the bases loaded and 1 out when we come back. bases loaded. The Chevy called to the pen. Been a tough year with an ERA near 8 for Rondon. Jose Martinez has walked. An RBI single to center, and also another single to center back in the 5th. Mentioned it earlier, he's starting to get hot. Inning started with Munoz a base hit, Wong a bunt hit, Carpenter the walk, strikeout of DeYoung, and now Rondon to face Martinez.
A lot of strikeouts, a lot of walks for Rondon.
Martinez on the first pitch, and a fly ball into right. That's Garcia. He'll make the catch. Shows off the arm.
Just not deep enough right here, but good positioning and strong arm. A lot of outfielders make a mistake where they think, well, the guy's not going to run, so I won't get in that good position. And in that case, you see Munoz going to come down the line, but it sees him back up, momentum coming forward and releasing the ball, that'll stop him.
Here's Marcell Ozuna, now with 2 outs. This could be one of those innings that could change the momentum in this game for either side.
And you already got a 2-run lead on him. If you can just really come through the clutch right here, get a crooked number up there, then they'll look towards tomorrow. Don't let them back in the game, so punish them.
Cardinals 3 for 10 with runners in scoring position tonight, but 0 for their last 6.
Mentioned a lot of strikeouts, a lot of walks. Throws hard, has a slider, but it's very inconsistent command of it.
The 2-0 pitch, and the ball gets away. And the Cardinals will pick up a run to make it 5-2. Munoz scores the 5th run for St. Louis.
It's like just a fastball that allowed, it was inside, but you got to catch it at this level. Now make it hurt.
And Ozuna draws the walk. Bases loaded for Yadier Molina. It's the 4th walk the Cardinals have received. Yadier Molina is 0 for 3, flied to the track in right and again to center field. The bases are loaded. And Molina pulls it foul. Strike 1. Every spot in the lineup, with the exception of Yadier Molina, is a base hit tonight.
We in St. Louis. Several times his catcher's popped up and almost allowed the ball to go through his legs.
And the White Sox, it's been a sloppy game for them tonight. 4 walks, 1 error that led to a run, a pass ball that scored a run. Some sloppy play. And the 1-1 pitch to Molina. And that gets through to the backstop. Wong will score. 6-2 Cardinals.
This will be scored a wild pitch, but still you got to block this with runners on base. And look at how the catcher just comes up and allows the ball to go through. Hard to believe, but Rondon was the first White Sox hurdler in history to strike out the side on 10 pitches or less in their history. Did that earlier against Minnesota.
The ball taken outside and low. 3-1 the count on Molina. It's another walk and the third for the Cardinals in the inning. Bases loaded again. And this time for Jed Jerko. Back-to-back walks by Rondon.
Assistant pitching coach out again to talk to pitching coach. Or Dr. Rondon, who's a assistant pitcher, usually is a relief pitcher, you know, down in the bullpen coach.
Hector Santiago is throwing in the pen, a lefty now for the White Sox. They were 1 out away from maybe switching the momentum in the game. And not only have the Cardinals scored 2 runs, but they've done it with a wild pitch and a pass ball. And that's got to be deflating. So the base is loaded. Jed Jerko grounded to short. Doubled to the corner and left, scored in the 4th, and also walked. And a ball up and in.
This could be a good matchup for Jerko.
Fastballs, and he's going to get into a hitter's count.
He's going to get at least a fastball. Can he do something with it?
And it's 2 balls and no strikes.
How about that?
So 10 balls, 2 strikes. It's that fine line, though, right now, where you got to imagine it's a fastball, but yet you can't locate it.
Yeah.
It's got to be the perfect pitch. Are you taking, or do you let one rip? The 2-0 pitch.
Can't locate the slider.
Yeah. 3-0.
Be ready to swing the bat. Make sure you can drive it.
3-0 pitch. And another walk. 3 in a row. Another run scores. 7-2 Cardinals. And that'll be it for Rondon. Cardinals will send their 9th man to the dish in Dexter Fowler. And they'll go with a lefty. Now to the Cardinals counter, potentially with a right-handed bat. Harrison Bader maybe. Santiago coming on when we come back. inning. They've scored on a pass ball, a wild pitch, and a walk. And the bases are loaded now for Dexter Fowler. Our Chevy called to the pen, Hector Santiago.
He made 7 starts this year. 21 relief appearances. 4.45 ERA there. He's allowed 1 run or less in 19 of those 21 outings. And he did have a career high 7 runs scored over the weekend in Houston in the relief.
And the first pitch taken up and in by Fowler.
This could be a real big at bat. Real confidence booster for Dexter right here. Come through here.
And Fowler hits a high fly ball. Deep left center. At the wall. Grand slam. Dexter Fowler. Boy, did he need that one. A grand slam for Fowler.
That'll make him feel a little better, won't it? And let's get that great smile. He's got one of the best smiles around. Let's see that all set, all the rest of the second half. Second hit tonight. The 4th career grand slam. Way to go, Dex.
The pitch down and into Munoz. His last grand slam was last year, following the game, the Rally Cat game that Molina hit a grand slam in against Kansas City. I mean, if there was ever a time for a guy to get a grand slam, this was it.
That was it.
This inning started with Jairo Munoz, and Munoz sends one out to shallow left center, and the catch is made. A 7-run inning for the Cardinals. They scored on a pass ball, a wild pitch, a walk, and Dexter Fowler, a grand slam. Good for Dex. His first ever from that side of the plate, the right side. And let's check in with Jim Hayes. Jimmy, what do you have for us?
Jose Martinez has DH before, and he told me it's really not any different for him, except for one thing. He can't sit still. He told me when he's in the dugout, when the Cardinals are in the field, you'll see me walking, running, smiling, stretching. but you won't see me doing one thing, sitting still. I just can't do it. Dan, I've been watching him. He's been doing every bit of that, so keep an eye on that.
I want to ask you too, Jimmy, while we have you, as that's pulled foul. Dexter Fowler met for a long time. For those of you that just joined us with the Chicago media, and everybody knows one of the World Series heroes with the Cubs. What was that media session like with Dexter?
You know, Dexter has a good relationship with a bunch of the reporters from the Chicago area, and he was gracious in discussing what's going on. They asked him what it's been like to go through all the stuff he's been through this season, and he said, well, he matured because he's handling it better, and he said, you can go down two roads. You can be mad and you can sulk, or you can shake it off and try to help your team. He says that's what he's trying to do.
And he picks up the grand slam. The 2-2 pitch. StatCast powered by AWS. That was also his first home run since May 6th. And that was on a Sunday night against the Cubs on that ball that was just over the glove of Jason Hayward to walk off the Chicago Cubs.
It's been a long time with that long inning. 28 minutes. Michaelis was sitting on the bench, but he's a strike thrower, so he can handle this better than most.
It's a 7-run inning that ties their season high. And a leadoff walk. And Michaelis was stretching and trying to do anything he could to stay hot, stay loose, stay warm. And a rare walk, a leadoff walk.
Would you believe it, Dan, if I told you there are times as a pitcher where you're sitting there going, come on, make outs. I've got enough runs. I want to get back out there.
I would believe it, and I've seen it. The one that comes to mind this year was Michael Wacha, who had the potential no-hitter. And it wound up being a very long bottom of the 8th for the Cardinals at Busch Stadium. We kept on showing him no one around him and just a lonely half inning and a long one for Michael Wacha. I think Michael was on his way to the All-Star game too prior to getting hurt.
At that time he was right there with Michaelis. You know.
Well, the Cardinals the last 2 seasons, they pounded out 6 grand slams, 4 of the 6 coming in interleague play. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Wonder what Mike Matheny is thinking about with Michaelis here. He's at 87 pitches. I would assume this would be his last inning. No need to push him. Coming off the off day, another one on Thursday. Get him through 6 and then maybe ask your bullpen to get the final 9 outs.
I think that makes perfect sense. You just want to get him. You want to make sure he gets through this inning. And they're going to the phone right now because they don't want to see him labor.
And the 2-2 popped up. Wong under it and makes the catch. Baseball's 2 biggest events of the summer back-to-back. Action begins T-Mobile Home Run Derby on ESPN July 16th at 7. Then baseball's biggest stars at the 89th MLB All-Star Game presented by MasterCard July 17th on Fox. And the coverage will begin at 6:30. Jose Abreu 0 for 2 with a pair of groundouts. 11-2, the Cardinals on top as they have a 7-run 6th inning. The 7 runs come with a total of 3 hits. And the 0-1 pitch. Could be a double play ball. Wong flips out there, double play for 6-3. Miles Michaelis 11-2 as we move to the top of the 7th. And a strike to Colton Wong, and we're underway. And a base hit for Colton Wong against a lefty, and his 3rd hit of the night.
Hitting with confidence, isn't he?
Yep.
Carpenter got his season turned around. Colton Wong starting to do the same. Who knows? Maybe this is the start for Dexter Fowler also.
Well, those 3 names that you just mentioned were guys that the Cardinals said beginning of the year they're counting on. Wong to play every day. Matt Carpenter, you don't expect to hit 140. Dexter Fowler is below 200. Marcell Ozuna not having the year that he had a year ago. I'm not sure we expected that, but I think we expected more power maybe a little bit from him.
Absolutely. Hit 37 home runs a year ago and 10 home runs this year, but a ton of singles, not a lot of extra base hits.
Well, this night is about Dexter Fowler in many ways in the Grand Slam back in Chicago. Ironically, his first career Grand Slam, guess who he hit it off of? Miles Michaelis. Did that in 2012.
Well, there's no grudges there.
No, not anymore. There's the 0-2 pitch, taken high. Just saw the shot of Brett Cecil getting loose in the Cardinals' pen.
Who knows? Maybe this is a chance to give him 3 innings of work so he can get himself right. He's been better of late.
And the 1-2 pitch. 2-2. And Carpenter on a pitch that's up. Singles into right. Runners at first and second and nobody out. Matt Carpenter on base for the 3rd time. Really got on top of this pitch.
Yeah, he got a ball up and his eyes lit up and got on top of it. I always think of left-hand hitter, low ball hitter, but there show you how the mechanics of swinging a ball that's up.
Now Paul DeYoung. This is our Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers will donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. And the 1-0. DeYoung had the bases loaded, nobody out back in the 6th inning. He struck out. Then Rondon came in. 1 pitch. Martinez popped out, so no damage done. You're thinking, well, could be a shift in the game. And at that point, it was a 2-run lead.
Paul DeYoung from Antioch High School, about an hour away, I think. He hit .430, but just 4 home runs and 30 RBIs in his senior year, and really was not a prospect by any means. And when he went to Illinois State, all of a sudden they said, wait a minute, this guy's got great power. He showed that last year where he hit 25 home runs at the big league level, and he had the 13 home runs he had at AAA before he got called up.
Well, I asked him, I said, why Illinois State? And no disrespect to Illinois State. Right. It's Division I baseball and a good conference. The Missouri Valley Conference. He said, well, no one really showed any interest whatsoever.
Exactly. And, he was a pre-med student, and I said, well, you got any doctors in your family or anything? He goes, Well, I got an uncle, but I kind of liked his lifestyle, so I wanted to become a doctor.
I asked him too, would you think about going back into medicine or something along those lines with his degree? And he said, nah, I don't think so. I'm making pretty good money now. And it's popped out behind home plate. That ball drifted all the way to Abreu for the out. Here's Jose Martinez with 2 base hits.
Average back up to 300. Hopefully he'll just take off.
RBI number 54 back in the 3rd. He's also walked. And that's a ball low. Martinez holding that shoulder a little bit, working on the compression sleeve. He was way out in front. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He's always got that smile on his face. When you worry about maybe he hurt himself, you see the smile and make some unorthodox swings.
Here's a 1-1. Big baseball family. The Passmores are here, led by Justin.
They're in San Francisco also.
And they want to say hi to folks back home. Met them a few years ago in Miami during the Passmore family reunion. And they travel so well, as we've seen.
Some kind of baseball fans.
Two and two.
I even had a conversation with Justin in San Francisco.
Is that right? You met him?
Yeah, I met him. I thought they were a figment of your imagination. But
no, sir.
I know now. I met them.
That's how they spend their summers. Big Cardinal fans, and we just happened to be there in Miami with that family reunion, and lo and behold, they just start popping up everywhere you go. Justin, a real big fan. That is not Justin Passmore. And the 3-2 pitch to Martinez. Another walk. Cardinals have received 7 walks tonight, and the bases loaded again for Marcell Ozuna. Inning started with a base hit to center field by Kolten Wong. Carpenter a hit to right. DeYoung popped out. A walk to Martinez. The 7th walk for the Cardinals and 5 by the Sox bullpen. And it's hit in the air to right. Garcia with the catch. Shows off the arm again. Marcell has left a few RBI on the table tonight.
If you got a good arm, why not show it?
Yeah.
And that's the only way you're going to continue to have the good arm. Remember Mark Whitten had a great arm, but it got to the point late in his career, he just thought nobody would run on him because of his reputation and would stand flat-footed, and they started to run on him, and then he rushed his throw and negated it.
A strike to Yadier Molina. In Cardinals history, there have been 2 times in which the club has had 2 grand slams in the game. We all know one of them. Fernando Tatis, that was in the same inning. And then 1929, Cardinals did that as well. Tatis, that was in 1999. And the 0-2 pitch inside.
Same inning against the same pitcher, Chan-Ho Park. And almost mathematically could have come up a 3rd time that same inning with the bases loaded.
It's unbelievable.
You know?
And Molina pops it up to the right side. Abreu with the catch. 11-2. It's time to stretch game 1 of this brief 2-game set in Chicago. Cardinals. Miles Michaelis out, so a chance for Michaelis to go to 10-3 on the year.
See his numbers. Would you be surprised if I told you he allowed only 1 unearned run in his last 8 outings?
Cecil?
Yep. Since June 20th. He's got the 9th lowest ERA among left-handed pitchers since June 1st, 1.88. And one of 6 relievers not to allow a home run since then.
Well, he's being used more, and I would have to say that has helped.
Yes.
Popped up, and Wong wants it in shallow right. Makes the catch for the first out.
You know, he's rediscovered the release point on his curveball. He's a little disappointed that he's not throwing it harder. He felt like he should be throwing about 85, and it's more like 81 miles per hour.
New catcher into the game is Francisco Pena. And if you miss our pregame shows, Jim Hayes will always have a guest and a player that joins him on the pregame. And Tonight it was Francisco Pena. Jimmy, a nice interview with the backup catcher of the Cardinals. What did you take away from that visit?
Well, he sure loves Yadier Molina. We talked a lot about Yadi and how Yadi has helped Francisco. Pena just can't believe how intense and how energetic Yadi is, because I mentioned that Yadi turns 36 on Friday. I said, by the way, did you get him a present yet? And he said, well, I'll check with my wife, who will check with Yadi's wife, and we'll figure it out that way. He said, I don't want to put that on me. But he said that Yadi looks like he's 25 years old, plays like he's 25 years old. He called a machine, and he said, Yadi is our guy. He's our leader. And he couldn't be any more thankful that Yadi has helped him with his career. He says just watching him has made him a better catcher.
It's one of the toughest jobs, we say it all the time, in sports and with the Cardinals, being a backup to Yadier Molina. If Yadi's healthy, he's going to play.
Remember, too, that prior to coming to St. Louis, one of the stops that Pena had was Kansas City, where he was backing up Salvador Perez, which is pretty much another Iron Man. How about this? Pena has started 23 games this year. He had started 15 total in the previous 4 years of his major league career.
It's not only trying to get a rhythm with your pitcher, but a rhythm at the plate. All those things.
And yet all the guys have confidence throwing to Pena, too.
Ooh, that was close, as it literally knocked off the hat of Brett Cecil. Boy, is that scary stuff.
Charging a line drive. Momentum carries you towards the plate. When you're around 55 feet away, the way you're right there, you don't have any way of getting your glove up. And it's a good thing he could duck.
High fly ball into center. And Munoz with the catch. He's hit a grand slam tonight. Dexter Fowler due up second when we come back. As an RBI, bases loaded walk back in the 6th inning. 2 walks and a double for Jed tonight. Dexter Fowler on deck, who's 2 for 4. And then we'll see Munoz.
Cincinnati beat Cleveland tonight.
And a foul ball. Boy, that was close.
It was real close. But Kendo's not saying anything. Jet didn't say anything.
It's 11-2. I thought it was fair.
I did too. A little bit to pull in the outfield. And pull in the infield also.
A 3-1 pitch. And a walk to Jed Jerko. 8 walks for the Cardinals tonight. Our Budweiser player of the game and play of the game. Grand slam for Dexter Fowler. He had been hitting .075 from this side of the plate. This is the 5th straight inning the Cardinals have had the leadoff man on. And the 1-0 pitch to Fowler. Foul back. There's so many reasons why you want to see Fowler get it going. Could be impactful for this club. And in the big picture, Al, you think about the investment. This is year 2 of a 5-year deal with Dexter Fowler.
Absolutely. And he's got a track record. He earned that contract.
And the 1-2 pitch to Fowler. Take it low.
Remember you and I talking about him after we first saw him in Colorado, then we saw him down in Houston, and I remember I said I liked what I saw from him.
No doubt. And he chased a pitch away and strikes out. This Sunday features promotional giveaways for the entire family. 30,000 fans 16 and older take home a baseball stitch print Cardinals tote bag. And all kids 15 and younger entering with a ticket take home a Fredbird hooded towel. That's presented by the Pasta House. And a ball to Munoz.
Sure, in a game like this in the American League where pitchers don't hit, Santiago, who's made 7 starts, probably finishes this game.
And that is a liner caught it short. Jerko back to the bag at first. Out number 2.
Colton didn't start on Sunday. This is his 4th straight multi-hit game on this road trip.
Wong 3 for 4 tonight.
It's 10 for 22 on the road trip.
That'll get your average going in the right direction. Cincinnati another win tonight. They beat Cleveland 7-4.
Colton right now is batting .218.
The 2-1 pitch. And Wong hits it out to deep right field. It's another one. What a night for Kolten Wong. This one a 2-run homer. And he's now the triple away from the cycle.
Seventh home run. It's 4 for 5 on the night. And you know, he jumped all over this one, and another pitch off a lefty.
And the 13 runs that ties the season high for the Cardinals. Wong with home run number 7. The swing and a miss by Carpenter. 0-2.
It's a good game to get Holland in too. He's warming up.
Last 2 times out has not been sharp. That includes Sunday in San Francisco.
And you thought he'd turn the corner right before then too.
Yep. The strikeout of Carpenter. 2-run homer hit by Kolten Wong. And it's all Cardinals 13-2 tonight. Is brought to you by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. By Ford, going further so you can. In Chicago, game 1 of the 2-game series. Anderson at the plate to face Greg Holland, and that pitch taken up and in. Our Chevy call to the pen. The bottom of the 8th rolls in. It's 13-2. And it's Greg Holland.
Rough game on Sunday.
It's popped up. Foul territory. Carpenter with the catch. The Hyundai pitch arsenal, slider 50% of the time. Different variations of that pitch from Holland. Fastball and a curve.
Actually tied his career high, allowing 5 runs on Sunday. those were the first earned runs he had allowed since May 25th at Pittsburgh. Missed 22 games after that with a hip impingement. You could see how he could get out of whack when you sign an opening day. Made 5 appearances in the minor leagues. Thought he was ready, but the way his motion, he can get out of whack and have trouble throwing strikes.
Charlie Tilson at the plate. He has driven in the only 2. And it's 2-1.
I would imagine it's tough to hit against him because you get so much movement. You really got to concentrate on the release point.
2-1 pitch. And a 1-out walk. Phillips 66. What's in the tank? Somewhere in there is Bud Norris. And since his last blown save, that was on June 8th, he's gone 5 for 5, ERA of .96. And that has been a tremendous signing for the Cardinals.
Where would the Cardinals be without Michaelis and Bud Norris? And both of them were kind of met with a little skepticism at the time of the signings, but
I think you thought with Norris he could be a swing guy, you know, might be a middle innings reliever.
sure,
And that's fine too.
yeah, serviceable people.
My understanding is Bud is very involved with the military and giving back to the military. I'm going to do a program with him on Friday for folks from Scott Air Force Base. I think are going to be coming to the ballpark. Looking forward to that.
I'll have to tell him about our "This One's For You" telecast.
I bet he'd want to get involved.
Sure. That's August 15th.
One ball and 2 strikes. And a strikeout as that catches the corner. There's 2 away. Well, as Jimmy said, Jose Martinez as a DH cannot sit still. That's proof. Strike 1.
Always
going
timing
to time him. Yep.
Catch your breath.
Then you got to stretch too.
All right.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Sanchez. Out of play, and it's 1-2.
Dan, there are a lot of guys that don't like to DH because of that. They want to feel like a complete player, or they feel like when they go to the field they get move around a little bit. Some guys will go down in the cages and hit. no set rules.
Here's a 1-2 pitch now to Sanchez. Taken low in the dirt. 2-2.
You know, Pena really does a nice job not getting a chance to play that often. He does a good job blocking balls in the dirt. Goes through all the pregame drills and the assignments, textbook right there. But you know, working with Yachty and the pitcher-hitter meetings.
And a fly ball lifted out to deep right center. Fowler back and can't come up with it.
Ground rule double.
Dexter did everything he could. Stretched out, full speed run, and he was about maybe 2 steps shy of making a very fine play in right center.
Yeah, absolutely did. You know, reaching out right there. You can't reach out too soon. You got to do it the last second, you know, because it'll slow you down, and you see the effort. And then it hit the warning track and bounced out. Cardinal catch a break with Tilson having to go back to third.
So second and third and Jose Abreu.
This could be a big lift for Holland here if he gets the American League All-Star out with runners in second and third.
Nothing at 2.
Abreu joins DiMaggio and Pujols as the only players to start a career with at least 4 straight seasons of 25 home runs or more and 100 RBIs. So he's been a slugger.
0-2 pitch. Outside with the fastball. 1-2. A ball and 2 strikes on Abreu. And the next by Holland. Put in play left side. And Jerko comes up with it. Scoreless inning for Greg Holland, and it's 13-2. is fouled back. So Santiago looks like he's going to finish up this game for the White Sox. Jose Martinez at the on-deck circle, and then Marcell Ozuna.
And I saw guys in the American League give up 6 or 7 runs in the first inning and throw a complete game.
Sure.
And lose 6-0, 7-0.
Cardinals have had 23 base runners tonight. White Sox with 7. Popped up just below us. Not a chance for you, Al, but you were ready. We can't say the same for Ricky.
How about he had to come over here and try to defend himself?
He did. Apparently somebody got to him that we were talking about him, and he had to come over and defend himself.
I never saw it. But I heard about it.
That's hit out of play.
This is a ballpark where I bet you do get plenty of chances.
Oh, yeah. Off the end of the bat, DeYoung picks up a base hit.
It rains, it pours, doesn't it?
The second hit of the night for Paul DeYoung. Third time he's been on base, also reached on an error. Gotta be frustrating here for Santiago.
Yeah, he come down here, he fields it, but he flips it back towards home plate. Then he slips. Now catcher runs out there and he missed it.
Martinez hits it into right, slicing towards the line and off the wall. DeYoung being waved in by Oquendo, and Martinez will stop at second. And the Cardinals add to their lead.
Second RBI of the night for Cardinal leader in RBIs, Jose Martinez, up to 55. His third hit. His third hit, and he's been on base 2 more times with walks. Right, worried about DeYoung when he kind of missed that step going around third, but didn't hurt himself.
"14 runs, the second most they've ever scored in an interleague game. They had 15 in a ball game we were in Oakland at that time. It was in 2007. I remember Chris Duncan hit a mammoth home run that day. Hopefully Chris is doing well.
Thinking just about him too. I hope he. That was a ballpark that probably had a lot of fond memories. As a little kid watching his dad, pitching coach. The A's.
And if memory serves correct, it was off of Kiko Calero.
Oh my goodness.
Who was part of the Mark Mulder deal.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't we think he was going to be something special?
He had a good slider.
Yes, he did.
The pitch down and in to Ozuna. Ozuna grounds it sharply to third. Nice play made down there by Sanchez.
Hot corner, you got time for about a step and a dive. Here's a step and a slide. Gets up, throws him out. Pena's first plate appearance in this ball game.
Chris Volstad is throwing for the White Sox in their pen. Here's Francisco Pena.
Maybe wishing he had another shot at that one, but Yachty was out. Pena did a very nice job handling the pitching staff and contributing. Started 17 of those games. Cardinals were one game over 500 with Molina on the DL and hit 242 with a couple home runs.
Fouled back.
The same could be said with Munoz, how well he did when DeYoung was out.
One ball and 2 strikes on Francisco Pena. Jed Jerko will be the batter. When you think about this road trip, it's been a long one, a tough one. Cardinals take 2 of 3 in Arizona. They split against the Giants. They'll at least, it looks like, split here against the White Sox and taking game 1. So
you gotta win both these games.
I would agree. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Jerko has walked 3 times tonight. John Brebbia throwing in the Cardinals' pen.
He could use a scoreless outing.
That's pulled foul. Santiago, by the way, is at 72 pitches, and he will struggle to comb his hair tomorrow. Then again, he might shave his head. So if he tries to take the razor to the top of the dome, that could be tough too. But you know what I'm saying, Al.
I know what you're saying. He did make 7 starts, so he's been stretched out a little bit. But the first time I heard Dave Duncan said reliever threw 30 pitches, we'll have to figure if he gets 1 or 2 days off. I shook my head.
Walked away in disgust, didn't you?
I didn't walk away in disgust. I just carrying 13 pitchers. We used to have 10.
Jerko with a high drive into deep left center. That'll stay in the ballpark, and the catch is made. It's 14-2.
a Cardinal fan. Cardinals 16 hits tonight. They've scored 14 runs. They lead 14-2. Look at the big night for Colton Wong, Jose Martinez. How about Dexter Fowler? A multi-hit game, including a grand slam. A lot of offense. Of course, the Cardinals' high water mark on offense was in San Francisco when they had 18 hits. So Mike Matheny's seen his offense do a lot, and they're 3 outs away from picking up their 47th victory of the season. So Chevy called to the bullpen. John Brevia will come in. Got roughed up a little bit in the San Francisco series, so good to get him back out there and he feel good about himself again. Gets ahead right here of Polka. Polka, one of the American League slugging rookies. Fouls it out of play. Cardinals won both games against the White Sox in St. Louis. 3 outs away from a victory here, but the White Sox would run their record to 30-61.
Brevy had that pitch against Sandoval. Boy, he'd love to have it back. With 2 strikes, he tried to go inside the game on Sunday, and it wound up being a 3-run homer. Luke Gregerson, by the way, is with the club right now. Obviously not activated, but that could happen tomorrow, the next day. We'll see.
Brevia lost 2 games in that San Francisco series. In his last 3 outings, he's allowed runs. So good a year ago, and still was pitched more good games than bad.
(14-2) our score. And there's a strikeout. He gone. Again, vote for Matt Carpenter until 3 o'clock tomorrow Central Time. Cardinals.com/vote. The final vote for the All-Star game. The 2018 Chicago White Sox media guide with various photos throughout the years of Ken Hawk Harrelson. Mercy. You could put it on the board. Yes. Stretch.
He was a character.
And pretty soon this ball game is over. The sayings of the Hawk. He go on the air too with that big cowboy hat too. Maybe if our viewers would love to see it, we'll get you that cowboy hat on Friday, Al, and you can go on the air. That beautiful cowboy hat with the bird on the bat.
You know, Hawk Harrelson at one time was the general manager of the White Sox. Didn't work and went back to the broadcast booth. He invented batting gloves, or he claims that he's the originator of batting gloves.
Used golf gloves, right?
He was a real golfer and a good one, and so he started using golf gloves as batting gloves.
The strikeout of Davidson. He go.
That's how you frame it if you're a catcher. 14-2, and you get a pitch down and away on the black.
Cardinal pitching tonight with 9 strikeouts.
Boy, allowed 5 hits.
and 2 walks. Hit in the air out to left. Ozuna near the line, and he's got it. A 14-2 win for the Cardinals. And they take game 1 here in Chicago.
You love it. Michaelis is named All-Star, and then he goes out to pitch and gets his 10th victory of the year. Outstanding job. Way to go, Dex. That's going to be the beginning of something really good in the second half.